What if I told you that you could go from being completely broke to financially independent in just 5 years? I know, it sounds like a fantasy, right? But today, we're going to break down the true story of how one person actually did it. And we're going to look at the exact roadmap he used. So let's start here. At 24 years old, a guy named Grant Sabatier had exactly $2.26 to his name. And I don't mean in his wallet. I mean, that was his total net worth across all of his bank accounts. That's it. I mean, this was his absolute rock bottom. He'd just been fired, he'd sent out over 200 resumes and didn't get a single callback, and he had to move back into his childhood bedroom. In his own words, he felt like a complete and total loser. So how in the world does someone go from a point of total despair with literally nothing, to complete financial freedom in only 5 years? Well, it wasn't some lucky break. It was a plan, and it was executed perfectly. You know, that moment of desperation, it actually became his turning point. Instead of just giving up, he set this incredibly audacious goal to become financially free. He gave himself a 5-year mission, and it all kicked off with creating a roadmap. And here's what's so cool about this story. Grant didn't just decide to work harder, he decided to work smarter. He followed this really clear 7-stage roadmap that took him all the way from just surviving to being truly financially independent. And it's a path that really anyone can follow. Okay, so here they are, the 7 stages. I want you to think of them like levels in a video game, right? Each one you unlock, it gives you more power, more control, and way more freedom over your own life. Let's dig into the first few. So these early stages, they're all about just building momentum. Stage 1 is just figuring out your goal. Stage 2 is about standing on your own 2 feet, covering your own bills. And stage 3, that's when you get that first real taste of relief, a little safety net that finally lets you breathe. Now, reaching stage 4, that's a huge milestone. Just imagine this feeling for a second. No credit card debt, no personal loans hanging over your head, and a solid 6-month emergency fund sitting in the bank. For the first time, you're not just getting by. You actually feel secure. You have stability. After you build that stability, you gain flexibility. And then you get to the main event, stage 6, financial independence. This is the point where your investments are generating enough income to cover all your living expenses forever. You don't have to work for money anymore. You can work because you want to, on things you actually love. This is the freedom Grant achieved. So that's the map. But how do you actually move through those stages so quickly? Well, the secret isn't just about what you do, it's about how you think. It really requires a fundamental shift in your mindset. Okay, here's the first huge mental switch. You have to start valuing your time more than your money. Think about it. You can always make more money, but you can never, ever get back your time. Once that clicks, you stop wasting hours just to save a few bucks, and you start investing those hours into earning thousands. And this brings us right back to stage 1, clarity. How do you find your specific goal number? Well, you use this simple but incredibly powerful formula called the 25X rule. This is what gives you a real concrete target to aim for. So the formula is super simple. You just take your total annual living expenses, let's say it's 12 lakh rupees, and you multiply that by 25. Boom, that gives you 3 crore. That is your freedom number. That's the amount you need to have invested, because it allows you to safely withdraw 4% each year to live on pretty much forever without the money running out. All right, so knowing your number is one thing, but getting there is something else entirely. And to do it in 5 years, you need to adopt some pretty serious acceleration habits that focus on 2 key things: drastically cutting your costs and massively increasing your income. First up, let's talk about cutting costs. And forget about skipping lattes, okay? That's thinking way too small. Most of our money goes to just 3 things: housing, transportation, and food. If you can make some big cuts here, you will free up huge amounts of cash to invest. And here's exactly how to do it. Think about living a little further from the city center to slash your rent. Buy a reliable used car instead of a flashy new one. And master the art of cooking at home instead of eating out all the time. I'm telling you, these 3 decisions have way more impact than 1,000 tiny cuts ever will.
But look, saving alone won't get you there in just 5 years. You have to earn more. That is the other crucial side of the equation. Whether it's a side hustle, getting into real estate, or building a small business, you've got to come into that investment engine to make it go faster.
And across all of those different ventures, what's the one skill that matters more than anything else? It's selling. And I don't mean in a pushy, aggressive way. I mean learning how to communicate value. Whether you're negotiating a raise, finding clients for your side hustle, or building a business from scratch, selling is the master skill that unlocks more income. Okay, so we've seen the whole journey, right? The roadmap, the mindset, the habits, all the way from $2.26 to financial freedom. The path is crystal clear. Now the focus shifts from Grant's journey to yours. The core message in all of this is that what you do today truly, truly matters. This journey to financial freedom, it doesn't start with some big lottery win. It starts with your first dollar saved and invested. The most important thing you can possibly do is to not wait. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought. A 5-year plan can seem, well, massive, but it's built one day at a time. So the most important question isn't what you'll do over the next 5 years, it's what is the one small, concrete action you're going to take in the next 24 hours to get started.